The UK laws are weak, simple as, and that's not my fault. That's not my fault.
Excuse me,
Oh, shit. What are you doing?
Take this away, man.
You're not allowed to.
Stand up, stand up.
You're not allowed to.
Stand up.
Search, bro, you're fucking hurting me. Don't touch me, bro. Hey. What are you doing now? Like, you're hurting me. Do you wanna die? Sorry? Do you wanna die? No. What do you mean, no, fam? Why are you laughing, bro?
But just know the movement is real, and we outside every day.
We're handling business from now.
A year ago today, mass outrage was caused by a single teenager who made it his mission to make it to the very top of the social media game by any means necessary, even if that meant sacrificing his very freedom. Now a name of the past, for a brief moment he had the internet right where he wanted it. He was known as the internet's worst prankster. His name was Mizzy. But a year on from his crimes, and where is he today? And why do some people think that he's on the path to redemption? Well, we're going to talk about that right now. Before we get into the crimes of Mizzy, I need to give you some background on him. Born in October 2004, Mizzy was 17 to 18 years old when most of his pranks went big. The problem that researching a creator like him comes with is that because his pranks often break community guidelines, they usually get terminated. Especially in his early days, it's difficult to track down exact times and dates. That said, his original channel was created in November 2018, and by August 2022 he had reached 21.4 thousand subscribers. During this time, he would make a range of videos and shorts and livestream himself smoking weed. In his early days, his content also commonly featured story times where Mizzy would talk to the camera about his life experience. Uploads such as How I Lost My Virginity at 14 and How I Got Arrested at 11 were examples of this, where he would go into extreme detail about ordinarily private affairs. He also might have seen himself as a bit of a YouTube guru, making videos related to how to grow a channel. As well as that, he was also conducting interviews, asking members of the public hard-hitting questions such as batty or breasts, and suck dick or let your mum die. Then of course were his pranks. These were what grew his channel the most, but also caused the most backlash, with Mizzy often committing petty crime and calling it a joke. Throughout his time as a creator, he started pushing the envelope further and further, with each prank escalating more and more. We'll get into this later on in the video. For now, let's construct a rough timeline for his rise to infamy. One of his first big stunts came in June 2021 when he would bus surf in London. At the time, he had just over 2,000 subscribers. The concept of bus surfing would be that you would wait at a bus stop for one to pull in, jump on top of the shelter or a nearby wall, and then when the bus stops to pick up passengers, jump on top of it. Mizzy clearly took a liking for messing around on transport, because he made several videos where he'd hang off buses, ride bikes indoors, and do something that he called hood subway surfers. Though his behaviour wasn't just limited to buses, bikes and trains, but also cars, in what now appears to be sowing the seeds of what was yet to come. In early July 2022, he uploaded a TikTok where he did something called the "Is This My Uber" prank, where he would open the door and try to get inside of a car that he knew wasn't his, claiming that this was his Uber.
Excuse me, what are you doing?
Sorry, it's my Uber.
666.
No.
These pranks, while generally harmless because at the end of the day he didn't actually get into these cars, did seem to cause shocked responses. In the minds of the people in these videos who did not consent to be in them, a stranger is trying to get into their cars, being insistent that this is their Uber, and their confused, scared, or angry reaction is uploaded to the internet. This invasion of people's property would escalate a year on, but this is the kind of thing that the media just doesn't pick up on. To the average person, it might have appeared as though Mizzy just came out of nowhere, but based upon his previous pranks, his behaviour really shouldn't have come as too much of a shock to anyone. A week later, he uploaded a short where he rode a line bike into KFC. A week after that, on the 23rd of July, he decided to upload a video called "Shopping Out of Strangers' Carts", where he went up to random people in the supermarket and made up an excuse as to why he needed to take their items. A day later, on the 24th, he uploaded a video where he ran around the counter at McDonald's. Then on the 6th of August 2022, he would go behind the counter at McDonald's again, this time stealing some food. At this point, there was almost no other content on his channel except for borderline illegal activities or actual misdemeanors. Long gone were the days of Q&As and YouTube tutorials. Mizzy had seen that the more audacious he was, the more views he would get. But he would carry on, having no public filter, no care for the people that he was pranking, and no consequences. At least for a while. On the 24th of August 2022, Mizzy went live within a stream titled Why I Got Arrested. In this stream, with a smirk on his face, he outlines the several charges that he was facing. Those being violating his public protection order, making threats to kill in the You Want to Die video, and sexual assault because he made a remark as a guy who was sitting on a park bench with his shirt off and touched his chest without consent. He proceeds to show off his court papers, taking pride in the fact that he's been in legal trouble so much.
Ooh, mad bro, free Mizzy in the comments, innit, yeah? When the video gets published, like, as a video, I want to see free Mizzy in the comments, bro. Because it is free Mizzy. I have to go court on the 30th, but I still want under investigation.
He mentioned that his court order stated that he needed written consent from anyone who featured in his videos from there on out.
And then they put me on a bail condition to obtain written or visually recorded consent from any person recorded in any image or video posted to my social media accounts. Look, it says it right here, like, no cap, bruv. Man can't post without permission from a person, whether video or written. Yeah, we violated that.
However, for almost a year, it would seem as though the police just wouldn't enforce this court order because Mizzy just carried on. Throughout the next few months, he made several videos where he claimed to be arrested, and if you scoured the internet like I have, you could find a decent handful of clips showing Mizzy being stopped by police on several different occasions. On the 18th of September 2022, Mizzy would drink other people's drinks, and then on the 24th of September, he would invade the pitch during the Sidemen charity match. This is a football match that contains a number of the internet's biggest creators. During the match, Nico Omalana scored a goal, and you might notice that cameras cut quite quickly away from him, and that's because Mizzy was celebrating alongside the players. You might be wondering why Mizzy was so prolific in uploads right now, so intent on trying to go viral, and though this is not confirmed, I do have a theory. You see, it was around now, in the autumn of 2022, that Mizzy became a father. I found this Metro article from May 2023 where he vowed to make better decisions for his 8-month-old baby, which would mean that the baby was born somewhere in October 2022. That's right, despite only being barely 18 years old, Mizzy was now a father. And when speaking to the Metro, he said that he became sucked into online fame and fortune, wanting to use his social media success to help provide for his son. We'll get into May 2023 in due time, but for now, it's possible that Mizzy saw the uncapped potential of content creation revenue and thought of it as a fast track towards financial security for himself and his loved ones. By no means does this excuse the things that he did, but if this was his rationale, you can at least try to understand his thought process for acting the way that he did, even if this was a miscalculation on his part. Flash forward to 2023, and Mizzy would carry on doing what he was doing. He would carry on being a nuisance to the public with such videos as whipped cream on people's head prank, deliberately filming in people's faces, and please shut down my first fan meetup. In February, the first media reports came out about him, mainly because it appeared as though he was harassing Orthodox Jews. Mizzy has since claimed that his attacks had no religious target and that he just pranks everyone. But Orthodox Jews appear in his videos a lot more frequently than would be likely given their population. He seems to live within an area with a high Jewish population, so maybe that's the reason why. But for someone who cries wolf about race like he does, which we'll talk about later on, he too has been accused of having a racial, religious, or ethnic bias. Come May 2023, and this was the peak of Mizzy. He would upload a video that would go viral all around the internet after he walked into the house of an unsuspecting family. This news story was picked up all around the media. The BBC, Sky News, Ray William Johnson for some reason. Them and plenty of other news outlets and creators would talk about how this prank showed a lack of respect and manners, was the epitome of a lust for views going too far, and was a danger to Mizzy and his friends. Some people wouldn't have asked nicely for the group to leave their house. If they went into the wrong house and circumstances were different, things could have ended much worse. Did Mizzy even care? Of course not. In fact, he actually relished the situation.
We are going viral, lads. More viral than I've been in the past like 2-3 years. Like, I started social media since I was 8, been doing videos, been making bangers, been blowing up since I was young. But this right here, everywhere. Reposts, tweets, bro, you guys already know what I'm talking about, bro.
With no visual remorse on his face, around now it's possible that Mizzy felt invincible, emboldened by the fact that thus far he had gotten away with everything and the negative reactions were only feeding into his goals. He wanted to be spoken about. The idea of this very video existing probably would have delighted Mizzy this time last year.
Hello world, you guys have all fallen to my plan. Right now, I'm on the way to Piers Morgan. He's gonna try to catch me out, but I've got plans for him. I've got something for him, yeah? So make sure you watch that, 8 PM today. We outside, we're blowing up this year. We're gonna be bigger than any social media platform in this world. Come on.
For a brief moment, Mizzy had reached the big time. And this all culminated with Mizzy being invited onto Piers Morgan Uncensored, a talk show hosted by Piers Morgan. And what followed was chaos, to say the least.
So the story about that.
Hang on.
Let me speak. Yeah, because no. Let me speak. No.
I'm going to tell you.
Let me talk about that situation.
No, for the viewers. Wait a minute.
Wait a minute.
Now at 1.5 million views, this is perhaps one of the biggest examples of a train wreck interview. The two constantly bicker over each other, no insight is really gained into Mizzy's thought process, and he uses various excuses to try and change the narrative. The only real piece of information that was given over was that Mizzy doesn't speak to his mother, who has since come out to say that she was tired of his stupid pranks, saying that he needs to get a job. Speaking of which, my mother said the exact same thing. I need at least 150,000 subscribers to get that she-beast off my back. So please, if you're enjoying this video, make sure to give it a like and subscribe for more. Aside from that, it was just deflections and ramblings. At one point, he even had the gall to claim that the outrage was because of him being black.
What do you mean tell me about my life?
Well, you said you didn't know anything about your life. Tell me about your life.
Because you're trying to get onto me because I'm black. Because I guarantee
because you're black.
Person, yeah, I guarantee if
I don't give a damn about your skin colour.
Really?
No! Why would I care what colour your skin is? Really? I just think you're an idiot.
This claim was despised in the comments by other people who just saw him as trying to evade any sort of accountability for his actions. After pulling the race card, Mizzy would make a comment about the UK justice system, claiming that the laws are weak.
The UK laws are weak, simple as, and that's not my fault. That's not my fault.
This was on account of Mizzy only receiving a £365 fine for the walking into a house prank and a 2-year CBO, otherwise known as a criminal behaviour order. And this criminal behaviour order meant that he wouldn't be able to upload videos to the internet without people's consent. While Mizzy didn't realise this at the time, this would later go on to be a problem because it seemed as though the police were now actually going to enforce his punishment. A few days after the Piers Morgan interview, Mizzy breached his CBO. Clearly thinking that he was smarter than the justice system, or perhaps not caring about the consequences, Mizzy decided to hijack a train and post the video on social media. While Mizzy had previously said that UK laws were a joke, he would perhaps go on to regret that statement, as in November 2023, Mizzy was sentenced to 18 weeks for violating his court order, meaning that he would have been released only a month ago, back in April. No suspended sentence, no more fines, no more warnings, Bacari-Bronze O'Garro was going to do time in a Young Offenders Institute, which angered a lot of people because they thought he should have actually gone to prison. What Mizzy didn't have the foresight to see, and this is something I discussed in TikTok's infamous deleted videos, was that his business model was unsustainable. Mizzy knew that you had to find your niche, but perhaps he didn't think ahead, because if your niche is committing petty crimes and misdemeanors and calling them pranks, then you need to carry on doing it. His unique selling point was that he'd go over the top, but now it would be hard to do that. If he makes another video like that, he just goes right back to prison. A trickshotter will find a more impressive stunt, a mukbanger will eat a larger portion, a video essayist will improve their editing. Mizzy can't go further though. And on social media, if you're not moving forwards, you're moving backwards. Faking pranks doesn't seem to be in his DNA, and nobody in their right mind is going to consent to feature in his videos if they're invading their cars or houses or asking them if they want to die. He would spend that Christmas behind bars, but come January 2024 and he would make his first public statement since the sentence. In this statement, he vowed that things would be different when he gets out. He said that he watched his videos back and realised that they weren't very nice, and that what he did was unempathetic. He would go on to apologise, even admitting that some of these were crimes. As has already been established, Mizzy seemed to have an unscared point of view of the British justice system, with most of his pranks being small misdemeanours or just uncomfortable for the victims. There's a chance that he didn't think he would ever actually see time, but now that he had, it was a wake-up call for the 19-year-old. It seems as though Mizzy's fate isn't sealed just yet. In April 2024, he was interviewed by the BBC, where he seemed quite different to the person we saw this time last year.
See it right now on BBC News, like, hey, I am sorry for everything I've done, and I'm trying to repent and be a better person from mistakes I've made in the past at the end of the day. I'm doing an internship right now for VPN London, which is basically an online journalist column, and I write articles every Friday for my creative media project in college. When the judge told me I was getting sentenced, and it was not like a suspended sentence or community service, and it was, yeah, you're going to jail, I had to keep composure because there was journalists there, innit? So I just had to keep a straight face until I got to the back room. And I was this close to crying. I realised that I had to really change my life around when I came out and do better for my son. Because I can't just be a bum doing TikTok pranks when I'm 30. That doesn't make no sense. I gotta actually grow up and make a career.
So he's acknowledged that what he did was a mistake. His demeanour is in stark contrast to when he was on Piers Morgan, saying that his punishments were weak and not seeming to care about the damage that he's caused. The comments on the BBC TikTok are by and large that of support, and Mizzy is only 19, so it's not too late to see him turn things around. Now that he's identified where he's gone wrong and has shown that he understands that being a public nuisance isn't sustainable, perhaps this could be the moment where he turns his life around, stays out of controversy, and starts actually providing for his son. Whether or not you think he can be forgiven, or if this is just an act, make up your own mind. But he's not out of the woods quite yet. If you thought that this story was going to have some sort of a happy ending, I'm sorry to break the news to you, but that isn't the case. In April this year, within weeks of his release, he's already gotten in trouble twice more. Once for something more current, and once for something he did in the past. Firstly, he uploaded a picture of himself and his son to Twitter, with his son being held up by his leg upside down. According to the Daily Star, this caused the police to conduct a welfare check on the father, with him once again being foiled by his use of social media. Secondly, if you remember back to the summer of 2022, it was a busy time for him on and off camera, because very recently he was found guilty of robbing a woman's phone from her worth $1,000 back in June 2022. Apparently he was riding a Lime bike, which we've seen him ride in videos before, when he apparently rode past the woman, grabbed her phone and rode off. He was later confronted by the police for an unrelated reason when he apparently threw the phone into a bush and tried to hide. He turned on his friend too, saying that it was his friend who stole it and that his friend gave it to Bacari, which was why he had his fingerprints on the phone. He would also claim that the reason he ran away from the officers that were pursuing him was because he was scared of the police and their stereotypes. Bacari will be sentenced in June this year. And this wasn't one of the stupid public nuisance misdemeanors that he liked to post on his channel. This was legitimate crime. If he's being genuine and he truly wants to atone for the havoc he's caused and the crimes he's committed, this one done 2 years ago has to be accounted for too. He now stands as a cautionary tale of how to not let yourself become a slave to views, clicks, and shares. His content, while highly potent for a moment, was unsustainable, and while he couldn't see it at the time, it seems as though Mizzy now knows that these sorts of pranks that rose him to the top, albeit for a brief moment, would also be the source of his demise. A year on from his moment in the sun, and it seems as though he's now a relic. A regrettable memory from the spring of 2023. One that ended with traumatized prank victims and a newborn son that spent 18 weeks without a father, with more time away possibly still to come. That said, all's not lost for Mizzy. There's a strong possibility that if he wants to, he could salvage things, and he has plenty of time to win back his mother's favour and become a better role model for his son. Whether or not he has the follow through to do that, we'll have to wait and see. But I think I speak for everyone when I say that hopefully this is the last that we see of him on social media. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this, then why not check out my video on YouTube's horrific kids content? It's a great video for sure. If you loved this, I have no doubts that you'll love that one too. If you wanted to, you could also check out my podcast, go subscribe to the MBR channel and watch along, let everyone know that Fox sent you. I'm sure you'll have a great time, it is a phenomenal podcast. Also, I'd like to ask you to like this video and subscribe if you enjoyed it, it would really help me out. Aside from that, I'd like to thank you for watching, and I'll see you later.